The air had a bite that evening, the kind that crept into your sleeves and curled around your spine. Lila stirred the pot on the stove, the smell of simmering tomato basil soup filling the kitchen. Outside, the wind dragged dry leaves along the porch, scratching at the door like distant fingernails. She glanced at the clock, 6:42 p.m., and adjusted the volume on the small radio by the sink. Soft jazz floated through the room, trying to smooth over the unease she couldn't quite place. She set the table for 3, the plates clinking too loudly in the stillness of the house. Her husband, Mark, was upstairs getting ready for his shift. He worked nights now, a temporary project, he said, but it had already lasted 3 months. That left her with Tyler more often than not. Her stepson, her polite, quiet, unreadable shadow. She didn't dislike Tyler. He wasn't unkind. He always cleared his plate, said thank you, and did his homework. But there was a wall between them, high and silent, and it had been there since she moved in. He came down without a word, wearing the same black hoodie he wore most days, sleeves pulled over his hands. His dark hair hung just over his eyebrows, hiding eyes that flicked up only for a moment when he saw her. Lila offered a gentle smile, the kind that hoped for a connection without expecting one in return. "Soup's ready," she said, trying to sound cheerful. "I made garlic bread too." Tyler gave a single nod and sat down. They ate with the sound of clinking spoons and the low hum of the radio between them. Mark came down briefly, kissed Lila on the cheek, gave Tyler a distracted pat on the shoulder, and left with a muttered, "Be good, guys. Don't wait up." And then it was just the two of them. Lila cleared her throat. "You've got exams coming up, right? How's school going?" "Fine," Tyler said. She nodded slowly. "Do you want to watch something after this? There's that new mystery thing on Netflix. Thought it might be your kind of show." He hesitated. His spoon paused in midair. "Okay," he said softly. It wasn't enthusiasm, but it wasn't a no either. Lila took it as a small victory. After dinner, she cleaned up while Tyler sat stiffly on the couch, staring blankly at the TV menu. The couch sagged slightly between them when she joined him. The screen glowed in the dim living room, casting flickering shadows on his face. His eyes looked tired, not just from the day, but from something deeper, something that had weight. He barely spoke for the first half hour, just nodded when she asked if the volume was okay. Occasionally he tugged his sleeves down or scratched at the corner of his thumb until it turned red. The room was quiet, but filled with a tension that wasn't angry or hostile, just hollow, like a held breath. And outside, the wind kept tapping at the windows. The movie played on, flickering across the walls in pale blue and gray, but Tyler had drifted off somewhere around the 30-minute mark. Lila sat motionless beside him on the couch, unsure whether to wake him or let him sleep. His head rested against the throw pillow, face slack with exhaustion, chest rising and falling in soft, uneven patterns. She muted the television, the silence in the room swallowing the last bit of artificial comfort. She rose slowly, careful not to disturb him, and walked toward the hallway. The light above the staircase buzzed faintly. The wind outside had picked up, now pressing itself more insistently against the house. As she passed Tyler's bedroom, she noticed the door was shut tight. Strange, she thought, since he usually left it cracked open. A second later, her ears caught it. A muffled sound behind the door, almost like crying. She paused, heart skipping once. "Tyler?" she whispered. No response. She knocked gently, then again, a bit louder. Still nothing. But the sound came again, unmistakable now. Soft, rhythmic gasps, like someone trying to hold back sobs. A chill crawled across her shoulders. She tried the knob. Locked. He never locked his door. Lila bit her lip and backed away, walking quickly, to the hallway closet where she and Mark kept a spare keyring. She fumbled through it, found the thin brass key labeled T, and returned to the room. The doorknob clicked, and the door creaked open slowly. The scent hit her first, not unpleasant, just sterile. Clean. Too clean. Like antiseptic wipes. And cold laundry detergent. The room was immaculate, almost obsessively so. The bed was made tight as a drum, the corners tucked in sharp. His books were alphabetized on the shelves, not a single pen out of place on his desk. But what pulled her in were the walls, lined with photographs. Rows and rows of pictures, many printed in black and white, others faded with time. Some of her, taken candidly in the kitchen, on the porch, walking in the yard. Some were of a young girl, one Lila didn't recognize, maybe 9 or 10, with a wide smile and long hair in braids. In one photo, the girl stood next to a much younger Tyler. They both looked happy, dirt-smudged, holding popsicles. The air in the room felt heavier. She stepped closer to the desk. An open journal lay beneath a small lamp, its light throwing sharp shadows across the pages. The paper was filled with drawings, frantic, overlapping sketches of faces. Some were clearly the girl, others were harder to place. Words were scribbled between the illustrations, some barely legible. One passage stood out. She screams, "In my dreams, but I never remember what I did wrong. Nobody hears her. Nobody hears me either." Lila's hands trembled as she turned another page. More confessions. Darker. "Sometimes I think I'm the wrong version of myself. Like something split. Like something broke." She didn't hear him come in, but when she turned, he was there, standing in the doorway, wide-eyed, shoulders tense, staring at her like he'd been caught naked in the cold. Tyler stood motionless, in the doorway, the dim hallway light framing him in a soft, eerie glow. His face was pale, jaw clenched, eyes flickering from the journal to the photos on the wall, then back to Lila. She didn't say anything. Neither did he. The silence stretched thin, taut as wire, until his voice broke through it, low, hoarse. "You weren't supposed to come in here." Lila didn't move. She held the journal like something fragile, her hands trembling slightly. "I heard crying," she said, barely above a whisper. "I thought you were hurt." Tyler took a few hesitant steps into the room, his eyes never leaving hers. His fists were clenched at his sides, not in anger, something closer to fear. Shame. "I didn't mean for you to see all that. It's not what it looks like." She looked at the photos again, at the girl with the braids and the wide, bright eyes. "Who is she?" He swallowed hard, his breath hitching. "Her name was Emily, my sister." The words dropped, between them like a stone. Lila blinked. She had never heard him mention a sister. Mark had never said anything either. "She died when I was 10, Tyler said, his voice cracking. "Car accident. I was supposed to be with her, but I didn't go. I stayed home because I was mad she told on me the night before. Stupid stuff. I thought I'd see her later. But she never came back." Lila's heart ached with each word. He sank down onto the edge of the bed, shoulders curled inward like he was folding into himself. "They said it wasn't my fault," he muttered. "The adults, the counselors. But I knew. I knew she went alone because of me. And after that, I couldn't stop hearing her in my head, talking, laughing, screaming sometimes. At night, I'd wake up and the room would be spinning and I'd see her, always just out of reach." He looked up at Lila, eyes glassy, filled with something, raw and ancient. "So I started writing it down, drawing it out, keeping everything clean just like she did. She hated mess. I thought if I did everything right, maybe the noise would stop." Lila slowly sat beside him. He flinched but didn't. "Move away." "I didn't tell Dad," he said. He didn't even keep her photos, just boxed everything up and pretended she was never here. But I remember all of it. She placed her hand gently over his, feeling how cold and tense his fingers were. You're not broken, Tyler. He stared at their joined hands like he couldn't quite believe they were real. I thought if I ever told someone, he whispered, they'd lock me up. Or worse, they'd stop seeing me as a person. Just someone messed up. Lila squeezed his hand tighter. I see you, she said. I see you now, and I'm not going anywhere. His shoulders shook with a quiet sob. Then he leaned into her, head against her shoulder, and let himself be held.